Yo, what's up guys? Two Still Bill here, back with another moto vlog. Today we're just gonna be talking about riding motorcycles in the cold, what you should do to prepare, things that you wouldn't really expect, and whether or not I think it's enjoyable. First of all, when it comes to riding a motorcycle in the cold, you really need to like bundle up more than you'd expect. It's about 35 degrees out and it feels like 25. Normally you can get away with like jeans and coat and be pretty chilling in like 30-degree weather. Like that's typically not a problem. But when you're on a motorcycle, you have to account for winds up to as fast as you ride. So if you just got like a slow cruise around town doing like 25, 35 most of the way, then you probably don't need to bundle up quite as much as you would if you're taking like a freeway trip, if that makes sense. Okay, you really want to make sure that you're bundled up. I got nice thick leather gloves on right now. I got a sweatshirt underneath my coat, and I tied the laces, but just left the hood around my neck because that'll help keep your neck warm. I also have a face mask on. I have a face mask on to also help with my neck, because if you don't do that, your neck's gonna be freezing cold, I promise you. I didn't think about it the first couple times I ran or rode in the cold, and it was awful. So definitely get something for your neck. As far as like jacket, I'm just wearing a winter jacket that's like a denim material, and it's been treating me great. I recommend something with denim because it'll do a little bit better. Something with denim will do a little bit better with the wind, as well as it'll like provide a slight bit more protection if you happen to go down than like a North Face coat that is just like polyester or something like that. As far as pants, the little kids. Probably my favorite part about riding motorcycles. He wasn't that enthused, but just seeing little kids looking at the bike and being able to rev at them a little bit, it's just fun. I loved it when people did that for me when I was a kid, so I like to try and make little kids happy when I can. But back to the pants. I just wear my regular riding pants, but what I do is I wear like a pair of like pajama pants or like nice thick sweatpants underneath, and I tuck that layer into my socks, and it kind of provides like a seal so that you don't have as much wind hitting like your bare skin, because that gets really cold really fast. And then I just got boots, like just regular old leather. These are steel toes from my old job that I wear, and they do fine. You don't really need anything fancy for the feet. I haven't had too much issues with my feet. It's mostly my neck that gets cold, and sometimes my hands, because they kind of just have to sit here in the wind the whole time. At least my right hand does. My left hand doesn't get cold quite as fast. Oh shit! The microphone fell. Fuck! Well, I'm holding it with my mouth right now, and I honestly might be able to just roll with this for the video. That's really funny. Definitely fell again. that's what I do to prepare for riding in the cold. And I can typically get about an hour of riding in like that before I start to get cold. But on to the next section. Some of the things that you don't really think about before you ride in the cold, which I already touched on a little bit with like your neck and like the ankles and between the pants and the boots. One of the things that you don't always think about, your tires are cold and you're probably not gonna have as good a grip because the ground is cold also. So you kind of got to warm up your tires before you get too crazy. But even then, even once your tires are warmed up, the ground is still cold, so you're not gonna have as good a grip. So you want to keep that in mind when you're riding. Should let your motorcycle warm up for a little bit longer before you actually start riding. The internals are a little colder, so it takes a little longer to get to operating temp. The last thing is your hands, especially with your right hand, because mine has to stay still most of the time while I'm riding. My hand gets really cold, and you don't really realize that if you're not moving, but then you move your hand and it's like, holy shit, I can barely like move my fingers because they're so cold. So you kind of got to account for the fact that your hands aren't going to be able to move as fast as they normally would. Overall though, riding in the cold, I'll still do it because I love riding, but it's certainly not as enjoyable. It is, like, I'm already a little chilly, I'm not going to lie, but for riding it's worth it. You know, you kind of get the adrenaline going, you start moving a little bit, and then you're like, you know, I'm cold, but I'm having fun. So we're just out here having fun. That's what we're here to do.